The Nebraska State Fire Marshal's Office is pleased to present video training on incident reporting. The National Fire Incident Reporting System, NFIRS, or Nebraska Fire Incident Reporting System, NEFIRS, is the same system. It's an all-incident reporting system, so you are not just limited to reporting fires. Nebraska state statute requires you to report only your fires to the State Fire Marshal's Office, but this reporting system will allow you to track every response, every incident you go to. There are two ways to report. You may download software to your computer, or you may use the web-based reporting tool. It doesn't matter what you choose, it still works the same way, and it's automatically sent to the State Fire Marshal's Office, so you don't have to attach it as an email anymore. You will always have access to your incidents. You can run reports or just save the incident to your computer or the web. There's no charge to use this software. You only need internet access to report. The other information is done at no charge to you, and it's supported by the National Fire Information System. Deb Hostetler is the State Program Manager for Incident Reporting, and Carmen Flynn is her assistant. You may contact either one of them to reactivate your account, reset your password, or request assistance. Deb can be reached at 402-471-9479 or by email at deb.hostetler, Hostetler, at nebraska.gov. Carmen can be reached at 402-471-1998 or email at carmen.flynn@nebraska.gov. In order to use the system, you must register your department. You only have to do this once, so if you're not sure if your department is already registered, you may call or email Deb or Carmen and ask them to check for you. To get started, you can go to the Fire Marshal website at http://www.sfm.nebraska.gov. You'll click on NEFIRS and click on the software. You will see a link that takes you from our website to the Department of Homeland Security FEMA website to register to use the incident reporting software. This site gives you information on the Federal Data Entry Tool software. You'll see a tutorial about how to download the software to your computer. It's strongly recommended that you read the tutorial before downloading the software. You may download the software to your computer, or you may choose to use the web-based tool instead. The choice is entirely up to you. Click on the link that will take you to NFIRS.FEMA.gov. Right below the National Fire Incident Reporting System, you'll see a green menu bar. Click on the tab named User section. Off to the left, you'll see User Registration. That's where you go to register your software for the first time, but remember, if you're already registered, you don't have to do that again. You must be a registered user to use either the software or the web-based reporting, but registering is easy. On the user registration screen, all of the bold fields are required. When establishing your username, make it something legitimate, for instance, the name of your fire department. The first name, last name, and phone number can be your name or the person you want designated as your contact person. The phone number and email address you list is the information we will use to contact you to let you know your account has been activated. The email address will also be used by the Department of Homeland Security to notify you if the system is being scheduled for maintenance or other important information. After you have successfully registered and have been notified that your account is active, you may choose the method of reporting, either the data entry tool or the web-based tool. If you don't feel comfortable downloading software to your computer, you may prefer the web-based application. If you feel more secure having the program on your computer, you may prefer the data entry tool. Whichever you choose is fine. If you have the software on your computer and you're at a remote location without access to your computer, you may log into the web-based program and report. The information is all stored in the same location, no matter which reporting tool you choose. You can access it either way. To report incidents using the web-based tool, click on the green menu tab named Web-Based Tools, and off to the left, click on Report Incidents DEBI. You will log in using the state NE for Nebraska, the username and password you created. The password must be at least 8 characters, a combination of letters and numbers, and a special character. October 14 with the @ symbol would be a valid password. Passwords may not begin with a number, and they are case sensitive. There are 17 characters that may be used anywhere in your password. A few of them are the exclamation point, $, percentage sign, and asterisk. Contact your state program manager for a list of allowable special characters. The password will expire every 90 days. If this happens, if yours expires, and you can't get into the system, contact your state program manager to reset your account. If you haven't logged into the system for over 30 days, your account will become inactive. Again, contact your state program manager to reactivate your account. After you type in your login information, you click Submit or OK. You'll see a screen telling you you're about to access a U.S. government information system. Don't let this screen scare you. You're authorized to use the system once you've registered, so click OK. Now you have selections. From this screen, you can search for an incident or start a new incident. First, let's do an incident search. Click on the incident search from the green tab at the top of the page. Your fire department FDID and name will autofill, so you don't need to type in that information. It's tied to the username and password you set up when you registered. If you think you entered an incident in the year 2013, but you're not sure what incident number it was, you can type in January 1, 2013. The entry would be 01012013. That's all you have to do to type in to find all the incidents reported by your fire department for the year 2013. Click on the search in the lower right-hand corner. In this example, 3 reports were entered in 2013. Click Open to view the incident. If the reports are valid, they will have a V under the validity column. If they have I's for invalid, you need to open the incident and correct the errors. We can see that the incident selected had critical errors in the basic module. It's showing you that some required data is missing. The key to clear, concise incident reports is to follow the rules. Your information is shared with other entities to compile statistics on fires and to improve building materials and equipment. You want to make sure you are taking the time to report what happened accurately. Where do we find these rules, you ask? In the Complete Reference Manual. This manual explains all of the modules and what they're used for in reporting. For each field, a definition, purpose, entry, and example is given. Incident type codes are listed and explained, as are property use codes and all other codes used in this system. You can download the Complete Reference Manual from the State Fire Marshal website or from the Department of Homeland Security FEMA website. You can save it to your computer or you can print it off, whichever is more convenient for you. As we open each entry that was missing required data, we can now see further detail. In this example, the location information of the incident is missing, as we can see by the yellow highlights. If you opted to download the software to your computer, you can send the shortcut of the data entry tool to your desktop. Once you've done that, double-click on the data entry tool icon on your desktop. Does this screen look familiar? You get the same federal system warning as we got when we were using the web-based tool. Click OK to proceed. The data entry tool dialog box will show your fire department on the left-hand side and the module, incident, and new exposure on the right-hand side of the screen. You're seeing all counties on this example because this is at the state level. But you will when you open yours, you will only see your fire department on the left-hand side. To find an incident, click on the Open tab under Incident on the right-hand side of your computer screen. This will work the same way as the search. This screen looks identical to the one in the web-based application and works the same way. To start a new incident, under the Incident section of the right-hand side of the screen, click New. Begin filling in all the information on this screen. In Section A, fill out everything. We recommend the following entry for the incident number, year, and then the number of the response for the year. For example, the first incident for 2015 would be 2015001. Don't put dashes in your incident number. Enter zeros for the exposure number. An exposure is defined as a fire resulting from another fire outside that building, structure, or vehicle, or a fire that extends to an outside property from a building, structure, or vehicle. On the first report, we would use 2015-001, exposure number 000. If there was an exposure to this fire, we would fill out a second report with the incident number 2015-001 and the exposure number as 001. If there was a second exposure to that same incident, the next report would be 2015-001, exposure 002. The yellow fields are required, but you are encouraged to fill out as much information as you have for this incident, even if the fields aren't yellow. Under Section B, you'll notice a drop-down arrow at the end of the field for address type. If you click on that arrow, you will see the choices you have for address type. If you are responding to a residential fire, you leave the address type as street address. If you are responding to an intersection, use the drop-down arrow and select intersection. Notice the number mile box is not a required field, but if you're responding to a house fire, you will need to fill in the number and the address. So even though the box is not highlighted, it may be required for what you're doing. In the street or highway box, type in the name of the street and then tab to the next field, street type. If this was a street, you would use the down arrow to select street. Continue filling out the information you have. When you get to the incident type, double-click in the yellow box to see the drop-down menus. When you clicked in the yellow incident type box, the codes lookup box appeared. Click on each plus to further open the selections. If you're familiar with incident reporting, you know the fire incident types are all in the 100 series. If this fire was a structure fire, we would open the pluses until we find the type of fire we responded to, which in this example is a building fire. So we double-click on 111 building fire, and it autofills in the basic module section C, incident type and description. This incident reporting system is a tab and type method of filling out the modules. Use your tab key on your keyboard to advance to the next field. Since most descriptions autofill, there's little typing required. The incident reporting system is in a modular format. What are these modules? As you fill out each unit defining specific information, you will be filling in the pieces of the puzzle. The reporting system contains required modules and optional modules. The required modules are the basic, fire, structure fire, civilian fire casualty, and fire service casualty. Notice that the required modules are all dealing with fire. The optional modules are EMS, hazardous materials, wildland fire, apparatus, personnel, and arson. To further describe the modules, let's start with the basic. The basic is completed for every incident. You will always begin with the basic module, and depending on the incident type code you select, other modules may be necessary. The basic module is made up of sections and fields and must be completed as thoroughly as possible. If you have a contained fire, such as a fire in a pan on a stove that doesn't spread any further, the basic module is the only one you'll need to complete. The incident type code may have caused the need for additional modules. When using the data entry tool on your desktop, after you've completed the basic module and saved it, you will go to the left-hand side of the screen and select Add Module. The additional modules you need are found from the drop-down menu. These modules are driven by the incident type you selected. If the modules are grayed out, that means you don't need these modules for the type of incident you are describing. If you're completing an incident report for a fire, the next module you need is the fire module. The fire module further defines the fire. If you have a grass fire, you'll fill out the basic module and then you'll have your choice of the fire module or the wildland fire module. Choose one or the other, but not both. The structure fire module is filled out after the basic module and the fire module are completed. The complete reference manual gives a description of structure. A structure includes, but is not limited to, buildings, open platforms, bridges, roof assemblies over open storage or process areas, tents, air-supported structures, and grandstands, just to name a few. The civilian fire casualty module is filled out for fire casualties only. Members of the public, police, or other civilians injured or killed due to fire would be reported on the civilian fire casualty module. If a paramedic not responding as a member of a fire department is injured or dies due to the fire, the civilian casualty module is necessary. If the civilian injury is not directly related to the fire, the EMS module would not be used. The fire service casualty module is used to report all injuries, deaths, or exposures to fire service personnel. This includes casualties that occur in conjunction with both incident responses and with non-incident events such as station duties or training. The EMS module does not replace NARCIS reporting. This module is optional and gathers basic data of the incident, not of the patient. It is used only if the fire department provides emergency medical services. If an independent provider performs EMS, do not use this module. The hazmat module is used when the other box in block H3, hazardous materials release, of the basic module has been checked. If releases or spills of hazardous materials exceed 55 gallons, the hazmat module is completed. So this module is used for reportable incidents. However, you can use it if you just want to report hazmat but don't have hazardous materials exceeding 55 gallons. The wildland fire module is used for certain incident types instead of using the fire module. It collects data about the number of acres burned, the type of materials involved, the conditions that contributed to the ignition and spread of wildland fires, and the resources needed to control or extinguish them. The apparatus and personnel modules are either-or modules. You use one or the other, but you don't need to use both. To report both apparatus and personnel, use the personnel module. To help manage and track apparatus and resources used on incidents, use the apparatus module. The arson module is an optional module that can be used when the cause of ignition on the fire module, block E1, is coded as intentional or as cause under investigation without any distinction made as to whether a crime has occurred or a determination of criminal intent. The arson module may also be used to document juvenile set fires, whether determined to be intentional, unintentional, or under investigation. The arson module does not replace an arson investigator's report that is on your fire scene. Now that you have a basic understanding of modules, let's try an example of how the incident reporting system works. Let's say you were dispatched to a factory fire containing hazardous materials. When you arrived on scene, you determined that flammable gases caused a fire to start in the factory. As you were suppressing the fire, one of your firefighters was injured. Which modules would we use to report this incident? Did you guess the basic module? If you did, you were right, because as you know, that module is completed for every incident. Remember, the exposure number on the first report is 000. Because this incident involved a fire, we would use the fire module. It wasn't a wildland fire or a grass fire, so we don't have the option of using the wildland module. This time we just used the fire module. The fire was also inside a building. So again, we used the basic, the fire module, and now the structure fire module. When you're reporting on a computer, one module leads to the next if the incident type directs it to do that, so you don't always have to add a new module, but sometimes you will need to. A firefighter was injured during suppression, so we're going to complete the fire service casualty module. And then, because hazardous materials were involved, we would complete the hazmat module. Now, you may think that there could have been some other modules used to complete this fire, and you're right, there could have been, but it's your incident. You report what you see. And now we have a complete report. That's all it takes. Not so hard, and once you get used to it, it goes fairly quickly. But you may be asking, what do I get out of this? Well, you'll be able to pull either individual reports on each fire or incident you responded to, or you can get canned reports for statistical and analytical information. You may be surprised to see some trends occurring in your community when you begin to analyze the data. If you apply for assistance to the firefighters grant, you'll be required to report your incidents in order to receive funding. If you receive the funding and do not report, you will be asked to return the equipment or the funding. So it's very important you report once you receive that funding. Your ISO ratings also improve if you report your incidents, and you'll be able to evaluate fire prevention programs through reporting. You'll be able to see which programs work and maybe which ones are no longer necessary because maybe you've done such a good training job you no longer need programs in that area. You will begin to determine where training is needed in your community or fire department and what type of training would be valuable. You'll also be able to provide justification to your local funding sources as to why you need additional equipment or supplies by showing them the types of incidents you're responding to or the services you're providing. They may not have been aware how many times you're doing parade watch or something for the community, but if you report it in this all-incident reporting system, you'll be able to document and show them the things you've been responsible for. You may be thinking, but I don't have a lot of fires, so I don't report. If you haven't had a fire during the month, you may log in and click the little box that says no activity. That keeps your account active and shows that you are reporting. Why is it so important to the state that you report your incident responses? Well, it helps provide statewide information for public records and research requests for specific types of fires. We have senators calling, asking us about fires near railroad tracks, and we have departments calling us asking for information on fire-safe cigarettes and if the cigarette is working to prevent fires or at least have not so many fires. And we can pull information that you've reported to show them what we're finding out throughout the state. If a fire department requests reports showing comparisons to other similar-sized departments on responses, the state is able to run comparative reports and supply them to the departments requesting them. The state has had requests from other state agencies and from the federal government requesting information on types and severities of fires. Wow, I didn't know my data was used at the national level. Well, yes, anything you report is, once it has been released, it's available for the national government too. And what do they do with the information? Well, they can prioritize research funding. They might find out that they need more funding for you as a fire department through the information they receive from your reporting. They also share this information with other entities, and Consumer Product Safety Commission is one of them. If the CPSC finds that a specific product or vehicle is involved in a significant number of fires, they will report that information to the manufacturer, who will then recall the product or vehicle to prevent further fires and injuries to consumers. And this has happened in Nebraska. We have had calls from Consumer Product Safety on things like the Mr. Coffee, the Little Glade plugins. Those have all been improved thanks to your reporting that the CPSC was able to use. Also, NFPA uses the data to update life safety codes. So building codes, life safety codes are updated and improved thanks to your reporting. Another national issue is flammability standards, and they have been improved thanks to the reporting they receive. In summary, if you're not reporting, we're not getting a clear picture of the fires occurring in our state. So please go online and register if you haven't already done that. You can report your incidents with the data entry tool or the web-based tool called Debbie. There are 5 modules required. They're the basic, fire, structure fire, civilian fire casualty, and fire service casualty modules. However, you only use the modules necessary to describe your incident. There are 6 optional modules. They are EMS, hazardous materials, wildland fire, apparatus, personnel, and arson modules. The data obtained from your reporting is used to supply valuable information to a variety of sources. Your data makes a difference. You play an important role by providing complete, concise, accurate information into the reporting system. Don't report because it's the law. Report because you want to make a difference by fighting fire with facts. If you have questions, you may contact your NFIRS Program Manager, Deb Hostetler, again at 402-471-9479, or Carmen Flynn at 402-471-1998. You may also email them by typing their first name last name at nebraska.gov. They look forward to assisting you, so don't hesitate to contact them. If you found this type of training helpful, but would like more specific training on a module or documenting an incident, contact Deb Hostetler or the State Fire Marshal to let them know what type of information you would like us to provide as video training. We value your input and thank you for reporting.